The rain came down in sheets, turning the hospital parking lot into a mirror of blurry lights and dark puddles. Brianna Carter pulled her blue cardigan tighter around her scrubs as she hurried toward her car. Her shift at Memorial Hospital had run 2 hours late, and exhaustion pulled at every muscle in her body. She was thinking about the leftover chicken in her fridge and maybe a hot bath when she heard it. A groan. Low and pained. She stopped, keys jangling in her hand. The parking lot was nearly empty at this hour, just a few scattered vehicles under the harsh white lights. For a moment she thought she'd imagined it. Then she heard it again. Help. The word was barely a whisper, but it cut through the rain like a knife. Brianna's heart jumped into her throat. She spun around, scanning the wet pavement. That's when she saw him. A man in an expensive gray suit was leaning against a black luxury car, one hand pressed to his chest, the other gripping the car door handle like it was the only thing keeping him upright. His face was pale, almost gray, and sweat mixed with rain on his forehead. She dropped her purse and ran. Sir? Sir, can you hear me? She reached him just as his knees buckled. Brianna caught him, her smaller frame struggling under his weight. He was tall, maybe 6 feet, with dark hair that was now plastered to his head from the rain. His blue eyes met hers, wide with fear and confusion. My chest, he gasped. Can't breathe right. Brianna's training kicked in immediately. She had worked at the hospital for 3 years, and while she was just a receptionist, she'd seen enough emergencies to know what this looked like. Her mind raced through possibilities: heart attack, panic attack, pulmonary embolism. I'm getting you inside right now, she said firmly. Can you walk? I don't need. He tried to pull away from her, pride flashing in his eyes even as his body betrayed him. My meeting? I just need a minute. You need a doctor, not a meeting. Brianna wrapped her arm more securely around his waist. He was heavy, solid muscle under that expensive suit, but adrenaline gave her strength. We're going to take this slow. One step at a time. The man tried to protest again, but another wave of pain crossed his face, cutting off his words. He leaned into her, and together they made their slow, agonizing way across the parking lot toward the emergency entrance. The rain soaked through Brianna's scrubs, and her shoes squished with every step, but she kept moving. She kept talking too, keeping him conscious. What's your name? She asked. Ethan, he managed. Ethan Crawford. The name tickled something in her memory, but she pushed it aside. Okay, Ethan. I'm Brianna. You're doing great. Just keep moving with me. This is ridiculous, he muttered, but his grip on her shoulder tightened. I'm fine. You're clearly not fine. Brianna adjusted her hold on him as they reached the sidewalk. The emergency entrance was just 30 feet away now. Men in their pride. You'd rather collapse in a parking lot than admit you need help. Despite his pain, Ethan made a sound that might have been a laugh. You don't pull punches. Not when someone's life might be at stake. They pushed through the automatic doors and the warm, sterile air of the emergency room enveloped them. The night nurse, Patricia, looked up from her desk and immediately jumped to her feet. Brianna? What happened? Chest pain, difficulty breathing, found him in the parking lot. Brianna rattled off as Patricia hit the call button. Within seconds, 2 ER nurses appeared with a wheelchair. I can walk, Ethan protested weakly as they tried to guide him into the chair. Sit, Brianna and Patricia said in unison. This time Ethan didn't argue. He sank into the wheelchair, and the nurses rushed him through the double doors into the treatment area. Brianna stood there, dripping water onto the linoleum floor, her heart still racing. Patricia put a hand on her shoulder. You okay, honey? Brianna nodded, suddenly aware that she was shaking. Yeah, I'm good. Is Dr. Morrison here? He is, and they've got him now. You probably saved that man's life. Patricia handed her a towel. Go dry off. You look like you went swimming in your clothes. But Brianna couldn't move. She stared at the double doors where they'd taken Ethan, replaying the last 10 minutes in her mind. The fear in his eyes. The way he tried to refuse help even when he clearly needed it. Something about it felt familiar, like looking in a mirror. 2 hours later, Brianna was still at the hospital. She'd changed into spare scrubs from her locker and was sitting in the waiting area, unable to make herself leave. She told herself it was just to make sure he was okay. That's what any decent person would do. Dr. Morrison finally emerged, his kind face tired but relieved. He spotted Brianna and walked over. He's going to be fine, he said, sitting down next to her. Panic attack triggered by stress and dehydration. His heart is strong. But if you hadn't brought him in, it could have escalated into something more serious. Brianna let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Can I see him? Dr. Morrison raised an eyebrow. You know him? No, I just want to make sure he's really okay. The doctor studied her for a moment, then nodded. Room 4. But he's been asking for you too. Brianna's heart did a strange little flip. She walked down the familiar hallway, her wet sneakers squeaking on the floor, and pushed open the door to room 4. Ethan was sitting up in the hospital bed, looking much better than he had in the parking lot. His color had returned, and his blue eyes were clear and alert. He was still in his dress shirt, though someone had removed his tie and suit jacket. When he saw her, something shifted in his expression. Relief, maybe, or gratitude. You're still here, he said. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Brianna moved closer to the bed, suddenly feeling awkward. Dr. Morrison said it was a panic attack. Stress, apparently. Ethan ran a hand through his damp hair. I've been working 18-hour days for the past 3 months. My body decided to stage a protest. Your body was smart. Brianna crossed her arms. You need to take better care of yourself. You sound like my sister. But there was warmth in his voice, not annoyance. He looked at her carefully, really seeing her for the first time. You're soaking wet. Oh. Brianna looked down at herself. Despite changing her top, her pants were still damp. Yeah, well, rescue missions in the rain will do that. Brianna. Ethan's voice turned serious. Thank you. I mean it. I was being stubborn and stupid, and you literally saved me. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been there. She shrugged, uncomfortable with the intensity of his gratitude. Anyone would have done the same. No. He shook his head. They wouldn't have. I've lived long enough to know that most people walk right past someone in trouble. But you didn't. You ran toward me. The words hung in the air between them. Brianna felt her cheeks warm under his gaze. Well, she said, breaking the moment, I should let you rest. I'm sure you have people you need to call. Family? My assistant is on her way. Ethan reached for the phone on the bedside table, then paused. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you always work this late? Brianna laughed, but there was no humor in it. Pretty much. I'm a receptionist here during the day, and I pick up extra shifts at night when I can. Trying to save money. For what? The question was simple, but something in his tone made it feel like more. Like he really wanted to know. Brianna found herself answering honestly. Medical school. I got accepted to state medical 2 years ago, but I couldn't afford it. My mom got sick around the same time, and her medications are expensive, so... She trailed off, surprised at herself. Why was she telling this stranger her life story? Ethan was quiet for a moment, studying her with those intense blue eyes. When he spoke, his voice was careful, measured. How much do you need? Brianna blinked. What? For medical school. How much? That's not. She took a step back. That's not why I told you that. I wasn't asking for anything. I know you weren't. Ethan sat up straighter in the bed. But I'm asking you. How much? Tuition is about $40,000 a year, plus books and supplies, and I'd have to cut back on work so I could actually attend classes, which means less money for my mom's medication, and there's rent and... Brianna realized she was babbling and stopped. It doesn't matter. It's not possible right now. What if I made it possible? The words hit her like a physical blow. Brianna stared at him, certain she'd misheard. What? Let me pay for your medical school. Ethan said it like he was offering to buy her coffee, casual and easy. All of it. Tuition, books, your mother's medication, whatever you need. You're insane. The words came out before Brianna could stop them. You don't even know me. I know you saved my life tonight. I know you work multiple shifts to try to chase a dream that you've had to put on hold. I know you take care of your mother even when it means sacrificing your own future. Ethan leaned forward. That's enough for me. Brianna's mind was spinning. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen to people like her. I can't accept that. It's too much. Why? Because... She struggled to find the words. Because people don't just give away that kind of money. There's always a catch. No catch. Ethan's voice was firm. Call it gratitude or paying it forward or whatever you want. But I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes, and you have a gift for helping people. It would be wrong of me not to help you develop that gift. I don't know you, Brianna repeated, but her voice was weaker now. The possibility of medical school, of finally pursuing her dream, was dangling in front of her like a lifeline. This is crazy. Maybe. Ethan smiled for the first time and it transformed his face. But sometimes the best decisions are the crazy ones. Think about it. Talk to your family. My offer stands. Before Brianna could respond, the door opened and a woman in a sharp red suit rushed in, her phone pressed to her ear. She took one look at Ethan and relief flooded her features. Mr. Crawford, thank God. I was in the middle of dinner when I got the call. She noticed Brianna and paused. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had a visitor. This is Brianna Carter, Ethan said. She's the reason I'm here and not face down in a parking lot. Brianna, this is my assistant, Helen Wu. Helen's eyes widened, and she immediately extended her hand. Thank you so much. I don't know what we would have done if... She couldn't finish the sentence. Brianna shook her hand, feeling overwhelmed. I should go. Let you two talk. Wait. Ethan picked up a business card from the table and scribbled something on the back. He held it out to her. My personal number. In case you want to talk about my offer. Or anything else. Brianna took the card, her fingers brushing his. The card was thick and expensive, with simple black lettering, Ethan Crawford, CEO, Crawford Technologies. The name clicked into place. Crawford Technologies. The company that had revolutionized cloud computing. The billionaire who'd made the Forbes list before he was 30. She just saved a billionaire's life. And he wanted to change hers. I have to go, she said, backing toward the door. I'm glad you're okay. Brianna, Ethan called as she reached for the door handle. Promise me you'll think about it. She looked back at him, this man who'd stumbled into her life in the middle of a rainstorm, and nodded. Then she fled. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the world clean and new. Brianna sat in her car, staring at the business card in her hand. Her phone buzzed. A text from her best friend, Nicole. Where are you? You were supposed to be home hours ago. Brianna typed back with shaking hands. You won't believe what just happened. 20 minutes later, Brianna was in Nicole's apartment, pacing the living room while her friend sat on the couch in purple pajamas, eyes wide with disbelief. Let me get this straight, Nicole said. You saved a billionaire's life, and now he wants to pay for medical school. Yes. And you said no. I said I'd think about it. Brianna sank into the armchair. Nicole, this is insane. People don't just give away hundreds of thousands of dollars. Rich people do. It's called philanthropy. Nicole leaned forward. Bree, this is your chance. This is everything you've been working for. But what if there's a catch? What if he expects something in return? Did he say he expected anything? No, but nothing. Nicole stood up and grabbed Brianna's shoulders. You've been killing yourself working double shifts for 3 years. You've been trying to save enough money for school while also taking care of your mom. This man is offering you a way out, and your pride is getting in the way. It's not pride. Yes, it is. It's the same pride that made you refuse to ask Troy for help when your mom got sick. The same pride that makes you pretend everything is fine when it's not. Nicole's voice softened. Bree, there's nothing wrong with accepting help. Especially when you've earned it by saving someone's life. Brianna looked down at the card in her hand. The numbers seemed to glow in the dim light of the apartment. What if I call him and he's changed his mind? Then you'll know. But what if you don't call and you spend the rest of your life wondering what might have been? The question hung in the air, heavy with possibility. That night, Brianna lay in bed, staring at the ceiling of her small studio apartment. Rain started again, pattering against the window. She thought about Ethan Crawford, about the fear and gratitude in his eyes. She thought about her mother, about the medical bills that kept piling up. She thought about medical school, about the dream she'd buried 3 years ago. And she thought about Troy Jackson, her ex-boyfriend who'd told her she was wasting her time trying to be a doctor. That she should be more realistic. More practical. Troy who'd walked away when things got hard. Ethan Crawford was nothing like Troy. Brianna picked up her phone, staring at the business card she'd propped on her nightstand. Her finger hovered over the call button. Could she really do this? Could she accept such a generous offer from a stranger? But was he really a stranger? In those 10 minutes in the parking lot, in the way he'd looked at her in the hospital room, something had connected between them. Something real. Before she could talk herself out of it, Brianna pressed call. The phone rang once. Twice. Brianna. Ethan's voice was warm, pleased. I was hoping you'd call. I haven't decided yet, she said quickly. I have questions. Ask me anything. Why would you do this for someone you don't know? Ethan was quiet for a moment. Do you want the truth? Always. Because 5 years ago, someone did something similar for me. When I was starting my company, a mentor believed in me and gave me the seed money I needed. He didn't ask for equity. Didn't ask for anything except that I pay it forward when I could. His voice grew softer. He died 2 years ago and I never got to really thank him. But I can honor his memory by doing the same thing he did for me. By believing in someone who deserves a chance. Tears pricked at Brianna's eyes. And you think that's me? I know it is. I saw it tonight. The way you didn't hesitate. The way you refused to let me give up, even when I was being difficult. He paused. You're meant to be a doctor, Brianna. I can feel it. And I want to help you get there. The tears spilled over now, running down her cheeks. This is too much. It's not nearly enough. Please let me do this. Brianna closed her eyes, thinking of her mother. Thinking of all the patients she could help if she became a doctor. Thinking of the little girl she'd been, who dreamed of wearing a white coat and making people better. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Yes. Louder now, more certain. Yes, I accept. And thank you. Thank you so much. She could hear the smile in Ethan's voice. Thank you for saving my life, Brianna Carter. I have a feeling we're going to be good friends. After they hung up, Brianna sat in her bed, her heart racing with a mixture of terror and exhilaration. Her life had just changed completely. All because of a rainstorm and a man who needed help. Outside, the rain continued to fall, washing away the old and making way for something new. Something that felt a lot like hope. Have you ever been too proud to accept help that could change your life? What would you have done in Brianna's shoes? Drop a comment below and subscribe to see how her journey unfolds. 3 weeks later, Brianna sat in the office of the Dean of State Medical School, trying to process the words she was hearing. Your tuition has been paid in full, Dean Roberts said, his gray eyebrows raised in pleasant surprise. 4 years, including a generous stipend for books and living expenses. I must say, Miss Carter, we don't often see this kind of philanthropy. Brianna gripped the arms of her chair, feeling dizzy. She'd known Ethan was serious, but seeing it become real was overwhelming. When can I start? The next term begins in 3 weeks. Can you be ready by then? Could she? Brianna thought of her apartment, her job, her routine. 3 weeks to completely change her life. Yes, she said. I'll be ready. That evening, she met Ethan for coffee at a small shop near the hospital. He was already there when she arrived, sitting at a corner table with his laptop open. He looked different than he had in the hospital, more relaxed in a green button-down and dark jeans. When he saw her, he closed the laptop and stood. You came. You paid for medical school. The least I can do is buy you coffee. Brianna slid into the seat across from him. The coffee shop was cozy, with bright overhead lights and the smell of fresh pastries filling the air. I'll buy the coffee. Ethan signaled to the barista. What would you like? Just a regular coffee, black. No sugar? No cream? I like it simple. Something flickered in Ethan's expression, appreciation maybe. Simple is good. They sat in comfortable silence while the barista brought their drinks. Brianna wrapped her hands around the warm cup, gathering her thoughts. I talked to my mom, she said finally. Told her everything. She cried. Happy tears, I hope? Very happy tears. She also wants to meet you. Brianna smiled. She says any man who would do something this kind deserves a home-cooked meal. Ethan's face lit up. I would love that. Really? You don't have to. I know you're busy. I'm never too busy for the important things. He leaned forward. And this is important, Brianna. Not just the money. I want to be part of this journey if you'll let me. I want to see you succeed. Brianna felt warmth spread through her chest. What? I still don't understand why you care so much. Ethan was quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing the rim of his coffee cup. I told you about my mentor. What I didn't tell you is that I was lost when he found me. I dropped out of college, was working 3 jobs, sleeping in my car sometimes. I had big ideas but no way to make them real. He didn't just give me money. He gave me hope. He made me believe I could be more than my circumstances. And now you want to do that for me. I want to give you the same gift he gave me. Ethan's blue eyes were intense. The gift of possibility. Brianna had to look away. No one had ever looked at her like that. Like she mattered. Like her dreams were worth investing in. Troy certainly never had. I won't let you down, she said quietly. You couldn't even if you tried. They talked for 2 hours, the conversation flowing easily. Ethan told her about his company, the challenges of managing rapid growth, the pressure of being responsible for thousands of employees. Brianna told him about her mother, about growing up in a small apartment but always having enough love to fill it. She told him about her dream of becoming a pediatrician. About wanting to help kids the way the doctors had helped her when she was young and sick with pneumonia. When they finally left the coffee shop, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. "Can I drive you home?" Ethan asked. "I have my car." "Then can I walk you to it?" Brianna laughed. "It's literally right there." She pointed to her old sedan parked 3 spaces away. "Then I'll walk you those 3 spaces." They walked slowly, neither wanting the evening to end. At her car, Brianna turned to face him. "Thank you, Ethan. For everything. Thank me by becoming an amazing doctor." He smiled. "And maybe by having coffee with me again sometime? I could use a friend who isn't on my payroll." "I think I could do that." Driving home, Brianna felt lighter than she had in years. The world looked different now, full of color and possibility. She called Nicole as soon as she got inside. "He's nice," she said, flopping onto her bed. "Like genuinely nice. No catch, no weird vibes, just a good person." "Maybe he's into you," Nicole suggested. "No way. He's a billionaire. I'm a receptionist. Soon to be medical student, thanks to him. And attraction doesn't care about bank accounts. It's not like that. We're friends." But even as she said it, Brianna remembered the way Ethan had looked at her across the coffee table. The way her heart had skipped when their hands accidentally brushed. No, she was reading too much into it. Ethan was being kind, that's all. People like him didn't fall for people like her. The next day, Brianna gave her 2 weeks' notice at the hospital. Her supervisor was sorry to see her go but thrilled about medical school. Patricia, the night nurse, hugged her tight. "I knew you'd make it," Patricia said. "You're going to be a wonderful doctor." On her last day, the staff threw her a small party in the break room. There was a cake with "Future Dr. Carter" written in blue icing. Brianna tried not to cry but failed. "We're so proud of you," Dr. Morrison said, handing her a card signed by everyone. "Don't forget about us when you're famous." "Never," Brianna promised. That evening, she went home to her mother's apartment for dinner. Sandra Carter lived in a small 2-bedroom on the east side, the same apartment where Brianna had grown up. The building was old but clean, and her mother kept their space filled with plants and family photos. "There's my doctor," Sandra said, pulling Brianna into a hug. She was a petite woman, barely 5 feet tall, with warm brown skin and gray streaks in her natural hair. Despite her illness, her eyes were bright with joy. "Not yet, Mama." "Close enough." Sandra ushered her inside. The apartment smelled amazing, like roasted chicken and fresh bread. "I made all your favorites. We're celebrating." Over dinner, they talked about Brianna's schedule, about which books she'd need, about where she'd live. Brianna had decided to keep her studio apartment despite Ethan's offer to help with housing. She needed to maintain some independence. "Tell me more about this man," Sandra said, refilling their glasses with sweet tea. "This Ethan. There's not much to tell. He's nice, generous. We're friends." Sandra gave her a look. The same look she'd given Brianna when she was 16 and claimed she wasn't interested in the boy next door. "Just friends?" "Yes, Mama." "And this ex-boyfriend of yours? Troy? Have you told him the good news?" Brianna's stomach tightened. She hadn't thought about Troy in weeks. "No. Why would I?" "Because you spent 2 years with that boy. Because you were planning a future with him. Until he decided my dreams were stupid and broke up with me." Brianna pushed food around her plate. "Troy made his choice. I've moved on." "Have you?" Sandra reached across the table and squeezed her daughter's hand. "Baby, I know he hurt you. But carrying anger around isn't going to help you. Let it go." "I have let it go." "Then why do you tense up every time I mention his name?" Because Troy had made her feel small. Because he'd told her she was chasing an impossible dream. Because when her mother got sick and she needed support, he'd walked away instead of standing beside her. "He doesn't matter anymore," Brianna said firmly. "I have medical school to focus on. That's all I need." Sandra looked like she wanted to say more but held back. Instead, she changed the subject to lighter topics, and they spent the rest of the evening looking at old photo albums and laughing at Brianna's awkward middle school pictures. When Brianna got home that night, she found a package waiting at her door. Inside was a brand new laptop with a note. "Every medical student needs good tools. Here's to a great first semester." Brianna held the laptop, tears streaming down her face. No one had ever done things like this for her. No one had ever believed in her this completely. She picked up her phone and texted Ethan, "You didn't have to do this." His response came immediately, "I wanted to. How was dinner with your mom?" "Perfect. She wants to meet you. Name the day." They texted back and forth for an hour, easy conversation about nothing and everything. When Brianna finally said goodnight and put her phone down, she was smiling. Nicole's words echoed in her mind. Maybe he's into you. No, they were friends. That's all it could be. But as she drifted off to sleep, Brianna couldn't help wondering what it would be like if it was more. The 3 weeks before medical school started flew by in a blur of preparation. Brianna organized her apartment, bought supplies, and met with her academic advisor. Through it all, Ethan was a constant presence. Not overwhelming but there. A text asking how her day went. A coffee date to discuss her schedule. A reminder that she was doing something amazing. 1 week before classes started, Ethan called her. I have a favor to ask. Anything. My company is hosting a small fundraiser for medical research next month. Would you come as my guest? I'd love to have you there. Brianna's first instinct was to say no. She'd never been to a fancy fundraiser. She didn't have the right clothes, didn't know how to act in those circles. But then she remembered her conversation with Nicole. Remembered the promise she'd made to herself to be open to new experiences. I'd love to, she said. Perfect. I'll send you the details. After they hung up, Brianna stared at her closet in panic. What did someone wear to a Billionaire's fundraiser? She called Nicole. I need a dress. Say no more. Shopping trip tomorrow. They spent Saturday afternoon in boutiques, trying on outfit after outfit. Brianna kept gravitating towards safe, conservative choices, but Nicole kept pushing her toward bolder options. You're going to a gala with a gorgeous billionaire who clearly adores you, Nicole said, holding up a stunning red dress. You need to look the part. It's not like that, Brianna protested, but she took the dress into the fitting room. When she emerged, Nicole's jaw dropped. That's the one. The dress was simple but elegant, fitting her curves perfectly. The bright red color made her dark skin glow. Brianna looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the confident woman staring back. I feel like someone else. You look like yourself, Nicole corrected. Just the version who knows her worth. Brianna bought the dress along with shoes and a small clutch. As they left the store, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hey Bri, it's Troy. Heard you're going to medical school. Congrats. Want to get coffee sometime? Brianna stopped walking, her good mood evaporating. Nicole looked over her shoulder at the text and frowned. How did he even get your new number? Probably from someone at the hospital. Brianna deleted the message. Doesn't matter. I'm not responding. Good. He had his chance. But as they walked to the car, Brianna couldn't shake the uneasy feeling in her stomach. Why was Troy reaching out now after all this time? That night, she mentioned it to Ethan during one of their phone calls. An ex. Ethan's voice was carefully neutral. Yeah, we broke up almost 3 years ago. He wasn't supportive of my dreams. Brianna twisted the phone cord around her finger. I don't know why he's suddenly interested. Maybe he heard about your success and realizes what he lost. Or he heard I know a billionaire and wants to benefit from it. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Do you want to see him? No. The answer came quickly, surprising even Brianna. I don't. I spent too long chasing someone who didn't value me. I'm done with that. Good. There was relief in Ethan's voice. You deserve someone who sees how incredible you are. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Brianna's heart raced. Ethan. Sorry, I mean it, Brianna. You're special. Don't let anyone make you forget that. After they hung up, Brianna lay in bed, her mind spinning. The way Ethan spoke to her, the way he looked at her, it felt like more than friendship. But maybe she was imagining it. Maybe this was just how he treated everyone. She picked up her phone and almost texted Nicole but stopped herself. Some things she needed to figure out on her own. The night before medical school started, Brianna couldn't sleep. She kept getting up, checking her bag, making sure she had everything. Finally, at 2 a.m, her phone lit up with a text. Can't sleep either? Brianna smiled and typed back, how did you know? Because I remember my first day. The excitement, the fear, the what if I fail thoughts. I'm terrified. You're going to be amazing. I believe in you. How can you be so sure? Because I've seen who you are. Someone who runs toward people in trouble instead of away. Someone who puts others before herself. Someone who doesn't give up on her dreams even when the world says no. There was a pause, then another message. The world needs more doctors like you, Brianna. Tears filled her eyes. She typed back, thank you. For everything. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. Brianna finally fell asleep with a smile on her face, her phone clutched in her hand. The next morning, she walked into her first medical school class wearing blue scrubs and carrying the laptop Ethan had given her. Her heart pounded as she found a seat near the front. All around her, other students were settling in, most of them younger than her, all of them looking just as nervous. The professor walked in, a tall woman with silver hair and an air of authority. "Welcome to Medicine 101. Today we begin the journey of becoming healers. Some of you will struggle. Some of you will fail. But those who persist, who remember why they're here, you will change lives. Maybe even save them." Brianna thought of Ethan in that parking lot. Thought of herself running toward him. This was why she was here. To run toward people who needed help. To be the kind of person who made a difference. Her phone buzzed silently in her bag. A text from Ethan, "First day. You've got this." She smiled and turned her attention to the professor, ready to begin. Medical school was harder than Brianna had imagined. The lectures were dense, the reading load overwhelming, the expectations impossibly high. She spent hours every day studying anatomy, memorizing terms, trying to keep up with classmates who'd taken pre-med programs and had years of preparation she lacked. But she loved it. Every challenging lecture, every exhausting study session, every moment she felt like she was drowning in information. This was what she dreamed of for so long. 6 weeks into the semester, she met Ethan for their weekly coffee date. It had become a routine. Every Saturday morning, they'd meet at the same coffee shop and catch up. He'd ask about her classes, and she'd tell him about the latest impossible exam or fascinating case study. He'd share bits about his company and she'd offer her perspective, which he claimed was refreshing. This Saturday, Brianna was running late. She rushed into the coffee shop, her purple jacket askew, her bag full of textbooks weighing down her shoulder. Sorry, she said, sliding into the seat across from him. "Organic chemistry kicked my behind this week." Ethan smiled, pushing a cup of black coffee toward her. "Already ordered. And you're allowed to be late. You're in medical school." "Still." She took a grateful sip of coffee. "I hate making you wait. I'd wait all day if it meant seeing you." The words were casual, but something in his tone made Brianna's heart skip. Before she could respond, someone stopped at their table. "Brianna? Is that you?" She looked up and felt her stomach drop. Troy Jackson stood there, looking exactly the same as he had 3 years ago. Same athletic build, same light brown skin, same confident smile. He was wearing a maroon shirt and expensive jeans, his hair cut close. He looked good and he knew it. "Troy." Brianna set down her coffee, her hands suddenly unsteady. "Hi. Wow, you look great." Troy's eyes swept over her, lingering too long. "Medical school must be treating you well." "It is." Brianna was acutely aware of Ethan sitting across from her, watching the exchange. "What are you doing here?" "Meeting a client for breakfast. But I saw you through the window and had to come say hi." Troy finally seemed to notice Ethan. "Oh, sorry man. Didn't mean to interrupt your date." "We're not." Brianna started, but Troy had already turned his attention back to her. "Hey, did you get my text? I'd love to catch up properly. Maybe dinner this week? I'm really busy with school." "Come on, Bri. For old time's sake. We were good together once." The nickname made her flinch. Only Troy had called her that and she'd always hated it. "Troy, I don't think that's a good idea." "Why not? We're adults. We can have dinner." He flashed that smile that used to make her knees weak. Now it just made her uncomfortable. "Unless your friend here would mind?" Ethan had been quiet this whole time, but now he spoke, his voice calm but firm. "I think Brianna can make her own decisions." Troy's smile faltered slightly. "Of course. No disrespect intended." He turned back to Brianna. "Think about it? You have my number." He walked away before she could respond, leaving Brianna feeling like she'd been hit by a truck. She looked at Ethan, expecting judgment or questions, but his face showed only concern. "You okay?" "Yeah. Sorry about that. He's my ex." "I figured." Ethan took a sip of his coffee. "The one who wasn't supportive of your dreams?" "That's the one." Brianna tried to shake off the uncomfortable feeling. "I don't know why he suddenly wants to reconnect. Maybe he really does just want to catch up." "Maybe." But Brianna didn't believe it. Troy had never done anything without an agenda. "Can we change the subject?" "Of course." Ethan launched into a story about a disaster at work, clearly trying to make her laugh. It worked. By the time they left the coffee shop an hour later, Brianna had almost forgotten about Troy. Almost. Over the next week, Troy texted her 3 more times. Each message was casual, friendly, nothing she could point to as wrong. But it bothered her. "Why now? After 3 years of silence, why was he suddenly so interested in her life? On Thursday evening, Brianna was studying at the library when her phone rang. Troy. Against her better judgment, she answered. Hello. Bree, thank God. I've been trying to reach you. I've been busy. I know. Medical school is a big deal. That's actually why I'm calling. Troy's voice was warm, persuasive. I felt bad about how we ended things. I wasn't supportive back then and I regret it. I just want a chance to apologize properly. Have dinner with me tomorrow night? Brianna hesitated. Part of her wanted to refuse. But another part, the part that had loved him for 2 years, wanted closure. Just dinner? Just dinner. As friends? I promise. Fine. But somewhere casual. I don't have time for anything fancy. Perfect. I'll pick you up at 7. After she hung up, Brianna immediately called Nicole. You said yes? Nicole's voice was incredulous. Why? I need closure. I need to hear him apologize and then move on. Bree, this is a mistake. He's going to try to worm his way back into your life. He won't. I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago. I hope you're right. That night, Brianna texted Ethan about her upcoming dinner with Troy. She told herself she was just keeping him informed since they were friends. But really she wanted to know his reaction. If that's what you need for closure, then I support you, Ethan wrote back. But be careful. And call me if you need anything. The next evening, Troy picked her up right on time. He took her to a mid-range restaurant downtown, nothing too fancy but nice enough. He was attentive, pulling out her chair, asking about her classes, seeming genuinely interested. I'm really proud of you, Bree, he said over dinner. I know I didn't believe in you before, but I was wrong. You're going to be an amazing doctor. Thank you. I was immature back then. I was scared of your success, scared that you'd outgrow me. Troy reached across the table, his hand covering hers. I've done a lot of thinking these past few years. About us. About what I threw away. Brianna slowly pulled her hand back. Troy, we can't go backwards. Who said anything about going backwards? I'm talking about starting fresh. You've changed, I've changed. Maybe we're better suited now. I don't think so. Is it because of that guy? The one you were with at the coffee shop? There was an edge to Troy's voice now. Are you two together? That's none of your business. It is if he's the reason you won't give me another chance. Troy leaned forward. Bree, I heard about him. Ethan Crawford, the billionaire. I know he's paying for your school. There it was. The real reason Troy was interested. How did you hear about that? People talk. It's a small community. Troy's smile didn't reach his eyes. I'm not judging. I think it's smart, actually. Getting a rich guy to invest in you. The way he said it made Brianna's skin crawl. It's not like that. Ethan is my friend. He's helping me because I saved his life. Right. And I'm sure there's no other reason a good-looking billionaire would spend time with you. The insult hung in the air between them. Brianna felt anger rising in her chest. What exactly are you trying to say, Troy? Nothing. I just think you should be careful. Guys like that always want something in return. Unlike you? Brianna stood up, her napkin falling to the floor. You show up after 3 years, pretending you want to apologize, but really you just want to see if you can benefit from my connection to Ethan. I'm done with this dinner. Bree, wait. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. She grabbed her bag. You never believed in me. You thought I was chasing an impossible dream. And now that I'm actually living that dream, you can't stand it. Goodbye, Troy. She walked out of the restaurant, her hands shaking with anger and adrenaline. On the street, she pulled out her phone and called Ethan. He answered on the first ring. How's dinner? Can you come get me? I'm at Mario's on 5th Street. I'm on my way. Are you okay? I will be. Ethan arrived 15 minutes later in his black luxury car. Brianna climbed in and he immediately pulled away from the curb. What happened? Brianna told him everything, the words spilling out in a rush. About Troy's fake apology, about his real interest in Ethan's money, about the way he tried to make her doubt Ethan's intentions. He said guys like you always want something in return, she finished. Like I'm too stupid to see that someone might actually care about me without an agenda. Ethan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. He's wrong. I know. Brianna looked at him, at his strong profile illuminated by the streetlights. You're not like that. No, I'm not. But I do want something from you. Brianna's heart stopped. What? Ethan pulled the car over and turned to face her. I want your friendship. I want to keep having coffee with you every Saturday. I want to hear about your terrible exams and your amazing discoveries. I want to be part of your life, Brianna. Not because of some ulterior motive, but because being around you makes me happy. The sincerity in his voice broke something open in Brianna's chest. You make me happy too. Good. Ethan smiled. Then forget about Troy Jackson. He's not worth your time or energy. You're right. Brianna felt lighter already. Thank you for coming to get me. Always. They drove to a late-night diner and had milkshakes, talking and laughing until midnight. By the time Ethan dropped her off at her apartment, Brianna felt like herself again. As she got ready for bed, her phone buzzed. Troy. I'm sorry for how I acted. Can we talk? Brianna deleted the message without responding. She was done chasing men who didn't value her. Done explaining herself to people who didn't believe in her dreams. She texted Ethan instead, "Thanks again for tonight. You're a good friend." His response came quickly, "The best kind of friend. The kind who brings you milkshakes after bad dates." Brianna fell asleep smiling, thinking not about Troy, but about bright blue eyes and a man who'd changed her life with his kindness. October arrived with cool mornings and the promise of change. Brianna had settled into the rhythm of medical school, though settled might be too strong a word. Every day brought new challenges, new information to absorb, new ways to feel inadequate compared to her classmates. But every Saturday she had coffee with Ethan, and those mornings became the highlight of her week. "You're not inadequate," Ethan said one Saturday morning, after Brianna had spent 20 minutes complaining about how much faster everyone else seemed to learn. "You're just comparing your chapter 3 to their chapter 10. That's a nice way of saying I'm behind." "No, it's a way of saying everyone's journey is different." He pushed a chocolate croissant toward her. "Besides, you got a 92 on your last anatomy exam." "How did you know that?" "You texted me at midnight, remember? All excited about the heart chambers." Brianna laughed. "I did, didn't I? Sorry for the late-night text bomb." "Don't apologize. I love your midnight text bombs. They're the best part of my day." There was that tone again, warm and sincere in a way that made Brianna's stomach flutter. She changed the subject, asking about his latest project at work. Ethan launched into an explanation about cloud computing that went mostly over her head, but she loved watching him talk. His face lit up when he discussed technology, his hands moving expressively. They'd been meeting every Saturday for 3 months now, and Brianna had started to notice things. The way Ethan always ordered her coffee before she arrived. The way he remembered small details she'd mentioned in passing. The way he looked at her when he thought she wasn't paying attention. Or maybe she was imagining it. Maybe Nicole's suggestions had gotten into her head. "Earth to Brianna," Ethan said, waving a hand in front of her face. "You zoned out." "Sorry? Long week. Want to do something different today? Instead of just coffee?" Brianna raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" "There's an exhibit at the Science Museum on the human body. I thought you might enjoy it. Professional interest and all." "That sounds perfect." They spent the afternoon wandering through the museum, looking at displays of organs and systems. Ethan asked questions and Brianna explained what she'd learned in her classes. She was surprised by how much she actually knew, how confidently she could discuss cardiac function and neural pathways. "You're really good at this," Ethan said as they stood in front of a giant model of a heart. "Explaining complex things in simple terms. That's a gift." "You think so?" "I know so. That's what makes a great doctor. Not just knowing the information but being able to communicate it." They grabbed dinner afterward at a small Italian place. The restaurant had bright white lights and cheerful red tablecloths. Over pasta, their conversation drifted from medicine to more personal topics. "Tell me about your family," Brianna said. "I've met your assistant, but you never talk about siblings or parents." Ethan's expression shifted, becoming more guarded. "My parents passed away when I was 20. Car accident." "Oh, Ethan. I'm so sorry. It was a long time ago. But yeah, it was hard. I have a sister, Rachel. She's a teacher in Portland. We're close, but she hates the spotlight, so she stays away from all the business stuff. I'd love to meet her someday." "She'd love you." Ethan smiled. "She's been asking about the mysterious woman I keep mentioning." "You mention me?" "All the time. Maybe too much." His ears turned slightly red. "Rachel says I'm becoming predictable. Every phone call starts with, 'Brianna said the funniest thing,' or, 'You wouldn't believe what Brianna accomplished.'" Brianna's cheeks warmed. "I talk about you too. To my mom and Nicole. They think we're—" "What?" She shouldn't say it. She should keep it light and friendly. But the words came out anyway. "They think we're more than friends." The air between them shifted, becoming charged with possibility. Ethan set down his fork, his blue eyes intense. And what do you think? Brianna's heart hammered in her chest. I think our friendship means a lot to me. I don't want to mess it up. Neither do I. Ethan reached across the table, his hand covering hers. But I also think we're dancing around something here. Something that might be worth exploring. Before Brianna could respond, her phone rang. Troy. Again. This was the 5th time he'd called this week, despite her deleting his messages. I'm sorry, she said, declining the call. He won't stop calling. Ethan's jaw tightened. He's harassing you. It's not that serious. Brianna, you shouldn't have to deal with this. Has he been coming by your apartment? Once. I didn't answer the door. She saw the concern on Ethan's face and felt touched. Really, I can handle Troy. I know you can. But you shouldn't have to. Ethan pulled out his phone. Give me his number. I'll call him. Ethan, no. That'll just make it worse. Will it? Or will it make him realize you're serious about not wanting contact? Brianna thought about Troy showing up at her apartment, about his persistent calls and texts, about the way he tried to undermine her relationship with Ethan. Maybe having someone else intervene wasn't the worst idea. She gave Ethan the number. He called right there at the table, his voice calm but firm. Troy? This is Ethan Crawford. I'm calling about Brianna Carter. Pause. Yes, that Ethan Crawford. Listen, Brianna isn't interested in rekindling your relationship. She's asked you to stop contacting her, and you need to respect that. Another pause, longer this time. I don't care what you think about my relationship with her. What I care about is that she's uncomfortable and you're the cause. Stop calling. Stop texting. Move on. He hung up. Brianna stared at him. I can't believe you just did that. Was it too much? I'm sorry if I overstepped. No, it was kind of amazing actually. She laughed, feeling relief wash over her. Thank you. He won't bother you anymore. Ethan's smile was slightly smug. I can be pretty intimidating when I need to be. They finished dinner, the earlier tension replaced by a comfortable warmth. When Ethan dropped her off at her apartment, he walked her to the door. Today was really nice, Brianna said. Thanks for suggesting the museum. We should do it again. Make it a tradition. Saturday coffee and an adventure. I'd like that. They stood there, neither wanting the evening to end. Ethan's hand came up, tucking a strand of hair behind Brianna's ear. The gesture was tender, intimate. Brianna, he said softly. About what we were talking about at dinner? We don't have to rush anything, she said quickly. Let's just see where this goes. Okay. But for the record, I like where it's going. Me too. He waited until she was safely inside before leaving. Brianna leaned against her door, her heart racing. Something was definitely shifting between them, something real and exciting and slightly terrifying. Over the next few weeks, Brianna found herself thinking about Ethan constantly. During lectures, she'd catch herself smiling at something funny he'd said. During study sessions, she'd want to text him about an interesting fact she'd learned. He was becoming woven into her daily life in a way that felt natural and right. Troy, true to Ethan's warning, stopped calling. Brianna felt lighter without that pressure, able to focus fully on school and her growing feelings for Ethan. One Thursday evening, Brianna was at the library studying when her phone buzzed. Ethan. Random question. Do you like jazz? She smiled and typed back, I don't know. Never really listened to it. Want to find out? There's a jazz club downtown that's supposed to be amazing. Saturday night. Brianna hesitated. Saturday night felt different than Saturday morning coffee. More date-like. But wasn't that what she wanted? Yes, she typed. Sounds fun. When Saturday arrived, Brianna spent an embarrassing amount of time getting ready. She chose a green dress that Nicole had convinced her to buy, simple but flattering. She did her makeup carefully, adding a bit more than usual. When Ethan picked her up, his reaction made all the effort worthwhile. His eyes widened and he seemed momentarily speechless. You look beautiful, he finally said. You don't look so bad yourself. He was wearing dark slacks and a blue button-down that made his eyes even more striking. The jazz club was intimate, with dim lighting and small tables clustered around a stage. Wait, no dim lighting. The club actually had bright overhead lights that gave everything a clear, sharp quality. They found a table near the back and soon music filled the air. Brianna had never experienced live jazz before. The way the saxophone wailed, the way the piano and drums created rhythm, it was unlike anything she'd heard. She found herself swaying to the music, completely absorbed. During a break between sets, Ethan leaned closer. What do you think? I love it. It's like the music is telling a story. That's exactly what it's doing. His hand found hers on the table, fingers intertwining. Every jazz standard has a story behind it. They sat like that for the rest of the evening, holding hands, listening to music, occasionally leaning close to whisper comments. It felt natural, like they'd been doing this for years. When they left the club, the night air was cool. Ethan didn't let go of her hand as they walked to his car. "Can I confess something?" he said. "Always. I've wanted to hold your hand for weeks. Every Saturday at coffee, every time we've talked, I've had to stop myself from reaching out." Brianna squeezed his hand. "Why did you stop yourself?" "Because I didn't want to rush you. Didn't want to pressure you after everything with Troy. Troy and I are ancient history. And you're not him, Ethan. You could never be him." They reached his car, but neither moved to get in. Ethan turned to face her, his free hand coming up to cup her cheek. "I really want to kiss you right now." Brianna's breath caught. "Then why don't you?" He leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. But she didn't. When his lips met hers, it felt like coming home. The kiss was soft, tentative at first, then deeper as Brianna wrapped her arms around his neck. When they finally broke apart, both were breathless. "Wow," Ethan said. "Yeah. Wow." He drove her home, their fingers linked over the center console. At her door, he kissed her again, this time with more confidence. "So," he said when they broke apart, "I know we said we'd take things slow. But would you maybe want to go on another date? An official date where I pick you up and we hold hands and kiss goodnight?" Brianna laughed. "I think we already did that." "True. But I want to do it again. And again after that." Okay. "Yes, Ethan. I want to date you. Officially." His smile could have lit up the city. Best night ever. After he left, Brianna called Nicole. "We kissed," she said as soon as Nicole answered. "Finally. Tell me everything." Brianna recounted the evening, the jazz club, the hand-holding, the kiss. Nicole squealed with delight. "I knew it. I knew he was into you. I'm so happy, Nicole. Is that weird? We've only been, whatever we were, for a few months. It's not weird. When you know, you know. But what if it doesn't work out? What if we try this and it ruins our friendship? What if it does work out? What if he's the one?" The one. Brianna had never believed in soulmates or fate. But lying in bed that night, replaying the kiss over and over, she couldn't help wondering if maybe, just maybe, running toward Ethan in that parking lot had been destiny. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. "Still thinking about kissing you." She smiled and typed back, "Same. Can I call you? I'm not ready for today to be over. Please do." They talked until 3 in the morning about nothing and everything. When Brianna finally fell asleep, her phone still in her hand, she was smiling. November brought colder weather and final exams. Brianna spent every free moment studying, determined to prove she belonged in medical school. Her relationship with Ethan continued to develop, though they were careful to keep it balanced with her academic responsibilities. They went on real dates now. Dinner and movies, walks through the park, cooking together at his place. Ethan's apartment was in a high-rise downtown, all modern furniture and floor-to-ceiling windows, but he made it feel cozy. They'd spend evenings on his couch, her head on his shoulder while he quizzed her on medical terms. "Medulla oblongata," Ethan said, reading from her flashcards. "Part of the brainstem. Controls autonomic functions like breathing and heart rate." "Impressive." He kissed the top of her head. "Next one. Hypothalamus. Regulates body temperature, hunger, thirst, and circadian rhythms. Also controls the pituitary gland. You're going to ace this exam." "I hope so." Brianna snuggled closer. "I'm so tired, Ethan. Sometimes I wonder if I can really do this." "You can. You already are." He set down the flashcards. "But you need to take care of yourself too. When's the last time you slept a full 8 hours? Define full." "Brianna. I'm fine. Just stressed about exams. What if we did something fun? To take your mind off studying for a few hours?" "Like what?" "Remember that fundraiser I mentioned a while back? The one for medical research. The gala?" "Yeah. It's next Saturday. Come with me. Get dressed up, eat fancy food, dance a little. You deserve a break." Brianna sat up, suddenly nervous. "I've never been to anything like that. I wouldn't know how to act." "You act like yourself. That's all anyone needs to do." Ethan took her hand. "I want you there with me, Brianna. I want to show you off and make everyone jealous that I'm dating the smartest, most beautiful woman in the city." "You're biased." "Completely. So will you come?" How could she say no to that face? Okay. Yes. The red dress she'd bought months ago was still hanging in her closet with the tags on. Nicole had insisted she'd find a reason to wear it, and now she had. On the day of the gala, Nicole came over to help her get ready. "You're going to knock him dead," Nicole said, applying Brianna's makeup with expert precision. "And every other person there too. That's not the goal." "Maybe not, but it'll be a nice bonus." Nicole stepped back to admire her work. "Done. Look." Brianna turned to the mirror and gasped. Nicole had enhanced her features without making her look overdone. Her dark skin glowed, her eyes were dramatic, her lips a deep burgundy. Combined with the red dress and heels, she looked sophisticated, confident. "I don't look like me. You look like the best version of you. The version who belongs at a billionaire's gala." When Ethan arrived to pick her up, his reaction was everything Brianna could have hoped for. He stared for a full 5 seconds before finding his voice. "You're stunning." "Thank you. You look pretty good yourself." He was wearing a perfectly tailored black tuxedo that emphasized his broad shoulders. Together they looked like they belonged on a magazine cover. The gala was being held at the city's most prestigious hotel. As they pulled up, Brianna saw other guests arriving in designer gowns and expensive suits. Her nervousness spiked. "Hey," Ethan said, sensing her anxiety. He squeezed her hand. "You've got this. Just stay with me." They walked in together, Ethan's hand on the small of her back. The ballroom was spectacular, all crystal chandeliers and white marble floors. Tables were decorated with tall floral arrangements, and a string quartet played in one corner. "Ethan." A woman in a silver gown approached them, her smile wide. "So glad you could make it. Wouldn't miss it, Angela. This is my girlfriend, Brianna Carter. She's a medical student at State." The word girlfriend sent a thrill through Brianna. This was the first time he'd introduced her that way. "How wonderful," Angela said, shaking Brianna's hand. "We need more talented women in medicine. Are you interested in research?" They talked for several minutes about medical research, and Brianna found herself relaxing. Angela was genuinely interested in her perspective, asking thoughtful questions. When they moved on, Ethan leaned close. "See? You're a natural." The evening progressed smoothly. Ethan introduced her to business associates and friends, and everyone was welcoming. Brianna found herself actually enjoying the event, especially when Ethan led her to the dance floor. "I should warn you," she said as he pulled her close. "I'm not a great dancer." "Neither am I. We'll figure it out together." They swayed to the music and Brianna forgot about her nervousness. In Ethan's arms, everything felt right. Then she saw him. Troy. Standing near the bar, staring directly at her. Brianna's body went rigid. What is he doing here? Ethan followed her gaze, his expression darkening. "I don't know. This is a private event. Maybe he was invited by someone. Maybe." Ethan's arm tightened around her waist. "Do you want to leave?" "No. This is important to you. I'm not letting him ruin it." But Troy was already walking toward them. He was wearing a maroon suit that didn't quite fit right, his expression determined. "Brianna," he said when he reached them. "We need to talk." "I don't think we do," Brianna said firmly. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." She said no. Ethan interjected, his voice calm but steel underneath. "You need to leave." "I'm not talking to you," Troy snapped. "This is between me and Bree." "No, it's not. There is no you and Bree anymore." Ethan stepped slightly in front of Brianna. "You need to go. Now." People were starting to stare. Troy seemed to realize he was making a scene, but instead of backing down, he doubled down. "You think you're better than me because you have money?" he said to Ethan. "You think that means you can just take whatever you want?" "I'm not taking anything. Brianna chose to be here with me. Because you bought her." Troy's voice rose. "You paid for her school, bought her fancy dresses, made her feel special. But what happens when you get bored? When the next charity case comes along?" Brianna stepped forward, anger overriding her embarrassment. "That's enough, Troy. You have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't I? I know you, Bree. I know you're too proud to admit you're being used. The only person who ever used me was you." Brianna's voice was steady despite her shaking hands. "You used me for 2 years, then threw me away when I wanted more from life. Ethan isn't using me. He believes in me. He supports my dreams. He's everything you never were." Troy's face flushed with anger. "You'll regret this. When he dumps you and moves on, don't come crying to me." "I won't," Brianna said. "Because even if things don't work out with Ethan, I'd still be better off than I ever was with you. Now leave. Security had arrived, alerted by the commotion. 2 guards in blue uniforms stepped forward. Sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave the premises, one said. Troy looked like he wanted to argue, but the guards weren't giving him a choice. They escorted him out while guests whispered and stared. Brianna felt mortified. I'm so sorry, she said to Ethan. I ruined your event. You didn't ruin anything. You did. Ethan cupped her face in his hands. And you were amazing. The way you stood up to him, the things you said. I'm so proud of you. People are staring. Let them. They just witnessed you being the strongest person in this room. He kissed her forehead. Want to get out of here? We can go get burgers and forget this whole thing. Brianna laughed, tension draining from her body. Yes, please. They left the gala, not caring about the whispers or curious looks. In Ethan's car, Brianna finally let herself process what had happened. He called me a charity case, she said quietly. He's wrong. Is he though? You did pay for my education. You do take me to nice places I could never afford on my own. Brianna, look at me. Ethan pulled over to the side of the road so he could focus on her completely. What I did for you, paying for medical school, that wasn't charity. That was gratitude and belief in your potential. But what we have now, this relationship, this has nothing to do with money. I care about you because of who you are. Your strength, your compassion, your determination. The way you make me laugh, the way you challenge me to be better. That's not charity. That's just you being incredible. Tears filled Brianna's eyes. I care about you too. So much. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. Troy Jackson can't scare me off with his insecurities. They went to a late-night burger joint, Brianna still in her red dress and Ethan in his tuxedo. The teenage employees did double takes, but Brianna didn't care. They sat in a corner booth eating greasy fries and laughing about the absurdity of the evening. You know what the best part of tonight was? Ethan said. What? Hearing you call me everything Troy never was. Knowing that you see the difference. There's no comparison. You're kind and supportive and you actually listen when I talk. You don't try to make yourself feel bigger by making me feel smaller. That's just basic human decency. You'd be surprised how many people don't have it. Brianna stole one of his fries. Thank you for handling that so calmly. I know it must have been hard not to punch him. I did want to punch him, Ethan admitted. But you had it handled. You didn't need me to rescue you. I kind of liked having you there though. Knowing someone had my back. Always. They finished their burgers and drove to Brianna's apartment. At her door, Ethan pulled her close. I'm sorry your first gala was ruined. It wasn't ruined. I got to dance with you, meet interesting people, and eat burgers in a ball gown. That's actually a pretty great night. You're amazing, you know that? You might have mentioned it once or twice. He kissed her, slow and sweet, and Brianna melted into him. When they broke apart, both were smiling. Get some sleep, Ethan said. And don't worry about Troy anymore. I'll make sure he doesn't bother you again. You don't have to. I want to. Let me take care of this, okay? Brianna nodded, feeling grateful and loved. Okay. Good night, Ethan. Good night, beautiful. Inside her apartment, Brianna changed out of her dress and into comfortable pajamas. She texted Nicole a summary of the evening, knowing her friend would want all the details tomorrow. Then she fell into bed, exhausted but content. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, already missing you. She smiled and typed back, same. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for being you. Sleep well. As Brianna drifted off, she thought about how much her life had changed in just a few months. How accepting help from Ethan had led not just to medical school, but to finding someone who truly valued her. Someone who stood beside her instead of trying to stand above her. Troy had been wrong about so many things, but especially about Ethan using her. What they had was real, built on mutual respect and genuine affection. And Brianna was done doubting it. December brought snow and the end of Brianna's first semester. Finals were brutal, but she pushed through, fueled by coffee, determination, and Ethan's constant encouragement. When she finally took her last exam, she felt like she could sleep for a week. Instead, she had plans. Ethan was finally meeting her mother for dinner. Sandra Carter had been asking to meet him for months, and Brianna had been nervous about making it happen. Her mother was protective, with high standards for anyone her daughter dated. But it was time. Stop pacing, Nicole said, watching Brianna wear a path in her carpet. Your mom is going to love him. What if she doesn't? What if she thinks he's too old or too rich or too something? Your mom cares about how he treats you. And he treats you like a queen. She'll see that. Nicole grabbed Brianna's shoulders. Now breathe. And maybe change? That shirt has coffee stains. Brianna looked down at her blue sweatshirt and groaned. Why am I such a mess? Because you're in love and meeting the parent is terrifying. It's normal. I'm not. We haven't. Brianna stopped. Was she in love? The feeling in her chest when she thought about Ethan, the way her day wasn't complete until she talked to him, the way she felt safe and understood in his presence. Maybe that was love. She changed into a green sweater and jeans, simple but nice. When Ethan picked her up an hour later, he had a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other. For your mom, he said. Is it too much? It's perfect. Brianna kissed him quickly. Are you nervous? Terrified. Good. That makes two of us. They drove to her mother's apartment, Ethan's hand finding hers over the console. Your mom raised an amazing daughter. I'm sure she's wonderful. She is. She's also incredibly perceptive. She'll see right through any pretense. Good thing I'm not pretending then. Sandra opened the door before they could knock, her face bright with excitement. She was wearing a purple dress and her hair was styled in neat locks. At first glance, she looked frail, but her smile was strong. You must be Ethan, she said, pulling him into a hug before he could respond. I've heard so much about you. All good things, I hope. Ethan returned the hug warmly. Thank you for having me, Mrs. Carter. These are for you. Sandra took the flowers and wine, tears springing to her eyes. Oh, you didn't have to do this. Come in, come in. Dinner's almost ready. The apartment smelled like heaven. Sandra had made all of Brianna's favorite foods: fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, and cornbread. The table was set beautifully with candles and her good dishes. Over dinner, Sandra asked Ethan about his work, his family, his life. She didn't grill him, but her questions were pointed, designed to reveal character. Ethan answered honestly, talking about losing his parents, about building his company from nothing, about his values and goals. And what are your intentions with my daughter? Sandra finally asked, direct as always. Mama, Brianna protested. It's okay, Ethan said. He looked Sandra straight in the eye. My intention is to support Brianna in every way I can. To be there for her successes and her struggles. To respect her dreams and help her achieve them. And to make her as happy as she makes me. Sandra studied him for a long moment, then smiled. Good answer. After dinner, Brianna helped her mother clean up while Ethan looked at family photos in the living room. He's a good man, Sandra said quietly, washing dishes. I can tell. You really think so? Baby, I've been watching men treat women my whole life. I know the difference between someone who cares and someone who's playing games. That man in there? He cares. Deeply. I care about him too, Mama. More than I expected to. Sandra dried her hands and pulled Brianna into a hug. Then hold on to him. Good men are rare. What about Troy? You used to like him. I thought Troy had potential. But he showed his true colors when things got hard. He left when I got sick, when you needed support. Ethan wouldn't do that. I can see it in the way he looks at you, like you're the center of his world. Tears pricked at Brianna's eyes. Her mother's approval meant everything. They rejoined Ethan in the living room, where he was looking at a photo of young Brianna in a toy doctor's coat. You've wanted this for a long time, he said, holding up the picture. Since I was 6. I'd line up all my stuffed animals and give them checkups. That's adorable. Ethan grinned. Do you still have the toy stethoscope? Somewhere in a box in Mama's closet. They stayed for another hour talking and laughing. Sandra told embarrassing childhood stories, and Brianna pretended to be mortified while secretly enjoying it. Watching Ethan interact with her mother, seeing them bond over shared laughter, felt right. When they finally left, Sandra hugged them both at the door. Come back anytime, she said to Ethan. Your family now. In the car, Brianna let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. That went well. Your mom is incredible. I see where you get your strength from. She likes you. Really likes you. Good, because I really like her too. Ethan started the car but didn't drive away immediately. Can I tell you something? Always. Tonight meant a lot to me. Being welcomed into your family, seeing where you came from. It made me realize how serious this is for me. How serious I want it to be. Brianna's heart raced. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm all in, Brianna. This isn't casual for me. You're not casual for me. You're not casual for me either. He leaned over and kissed her, deep and meaningful. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. So we're doing this? Ethan asked. Really doing this? Yeah. We're really doing this. A week later, Ethan invited Brianna to Sunday dinner with his sister, Rachel. They drove to a restaurant across town and Brianna was nervous all over again. What if she doesn't like me? She asked for the third time. Impossible. You're incredibly likable. Ethan squeezed her hand. Besides, Rachel has been dying to meet you. I might have talked about you too much. How much is too much? Every phone call. Every text. She threatened to hang up on me last time if I mentioned your name again. Brianna laughed despite her nerves. You're exaggerating. Only slightly. Rachel was waiting at a table when they arrived. She was shorter than Ethan, with the same blue eyes and a warm smile. She wore a comfortable red cardigan and jeans, looking more like a kindergarten teacher than a billionaire sister. Finally, she said, hugging Brianna like they were old friends. I was starting to think Ethan made you up. I'm real, Brianna said, immediately liking her. And just as wonderful as he described. Actually, more wonderful because Ethan's terrible at describing things. Hey, Ethan protested. They ordered food and fell into easy conversation. Rachel asked about medical school, about Brianna's goals, about her family. Unlike at the gala, these questions felt genuine, not performative. So how did you two actually meet? Rachel asked. Ethan's been vague about the details. Brianna and Ethan exchanged glances, then told the story together. The rainstorm, the panic attack, Brianna refusing to let him give up. Rachel listened with wide eyes. You saved his life and he offered to pay for medical school? That's the most Ethan thing ever. What does that mean? Ethan asked. It means you're a dramatic softy who tries to solve problems with grand gestures. But Rachel said it with affection. I'm glad though. I'm glad you did something that brought Brianna into your life. Me too, Ethan said, looking at Brianna with such open affection that she blushed. After lunch, they walked through a nearby park. The trees were bare and snow crunched under their feet. Rachel walked beside Brianna while Ethan took a phone call from work. He's different with you, Rachel said quietly. Different how? Lighter. Happier. Before he met you, all he did was work. I worried about him, honestly. He's been alone for so long, throwing himself into building his company. But now he talks about dinner plans and coffee dates. He smiles more. He makes me happy too. I can tell. The way you look at each other, it's special. Rachel paused. I know his wealth can be intimidating. But don't let that come between you. My brother doesn't care about money. He cares about people who are genuine and kind. And you're both of those things. Thank you. That means a lot. Ethan rejoined them, slipping his arm around Brianna's waist. What are you two talking about? How you're a dramatic softy, Rachel said. I'm not dramatic. You offered to pay for medical school after meeting someone once. That's the definition of dramatic. It was the right thing to do. See? Softy. Rachel grinned at Brianna. Take care of him, okay? He needs someone to remind him there's more to life than board meetings and spreadsheets. I will. They dropped Rachel off at her car and she hugged Brianna tightly. Welcome to the family, she whispered. I'm so glad Ethan found you. Driving back, Brianna felt overwhelmed by emotion. In the span of a week, she'd been accepted by both families. She'd gone from being alone to being part of something bigger. Your sister is great, she said. She really likes you. I could tell. How? She used her teacher voice with you. The warm, nurturing one. She only does that with people she cares about. I'm honored. Brianna looked out the window at the passing city. This is all happening so fast. A few months ago, I was working double shifts and dreaming about medical school. Now I'm dating you, my mom approves, your sister approves. It almost feels too good to be true. It's not too good. It's exactly what you deserve. What if something goes wrong? Ethan pulled over just like he had the night of the gala. He turned to face her, taking both her hands in his. Life doesn't come with guarantees, Brianna. Things could go wrong. We could face challenges. But I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me to. I'm committed to making this work. I'm committed too. I'm scared of losing this. Of losing you. You won't. I promise. He kissed her and Brianna let herself believe him. Let herself trust in this happiness, in this man who'd stumbled into her life during a rainstorm and changed everything. That night, lying in bed, she called Nicole. Both families approve, she said. It's official. We're a real couple. I'm so happy for you. You deserve all of this. Sometimes I wonder if this is how it's supposed to feel. Easy and right instead of hard and complicated. That's because you're with the right person. When it's right, it doesn't have to be hard. After they hung up, Brianna thought about Troy. About how their relationship had always been a struggle, always required her to prove herself or change to fit his expectations. With Ethan she could just be herself. He didn't want her to be different or smaller or less ambitious. He wanted her exactly as she was. That was what made all the difference. Her semester grades arrived the next day. She'd passed everything with flying colors, including a perfect score on her anatomy final. She immediately called Ethan. "I did it," she said when he answered. "I actually survived medical school semester 1. I never doubted you for a second. This calls for a celebration. Dinner tonight?" "Yes, but somewhere low-key. I'm too tired for fancy. How about I cook for you instead? You can come over, relax, and let me take care of you for once." "That sounds perfect." That evening, Brianna showed up at Ethan's apartment with her grades printed out. He took one look at her transcript and swept her into a hug. "I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done it without your support." "Yes, you could have. You're brilliant and determined. I just made things a little easier." He'd made dinner, pasta with homemade sauce, and they ate on his couch while watching a movie. Brianna fell asleep halfway through, her head on his shoulder. When she woke up hours later, she was covered with a blanket and Ethan was reading beside her. "Sorry," she mumbled. "I didn't mean to crash." "Don't apologize. You were exhausted." He set down his book. "Feel better?" "Much." "What time is it?" "Almost midnight. Want me to drive you home?" Brianna looked at him, at the warmth in his eyes, at the way he'd let her sleep instead of waking her. She thought about going back to her empty apartment, about sleeping alone. "Can I stay?" The words came out before she could second-guess them. Ethan's eyes widened slightly. "You want to stay here?" "Only if that's okay. I don't want tonight to end yet." "It's more than okay." He stood and offered his hand. "Come on. I'll give you something to sleep in." He lent her one of his shirts, which fell to her knees, and showed her to his guest room. But at the door, Brianna hesitated. "Would it be okay if I stayed with you instead?" "Just to sleep. I don't want to be alone." Understanding crossed Ethan's face. "Of course." They climbed into his bed together and Ethan pulled her close. Brianna rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything. For believing in me, for supporting my dreams, for being patient while I figured out my feelings. Thank you for letting me in. For trusting me with your heart." "I do trust you. Completely." They fell asleep like that, wrapped in each other's arms, and Brianna felt more at peace than she had in years. January started with new challenges. Brianna's second semester classes were even harder than the first, with longer hours and more demanding professors. She was struggling to balance studying with maintaining her relationship with Ethan. They still had their Saturday coffee dates, but Brianna often showed up distracted, her mind on upcoming exams. Ethan was patient, quizzing her on flashcards and bringing her dinner when she forgot to eat. But she could tell he missed having her full attention. "I'm sorry," she said one Saturday, after checking her phone for the 4th time in 10 minutes. "I'm being terrible company." "You're never terrible company. You're just stressed." Ethan closed her textbook gently. "How about we do something different this week? Something that has nothing to do with medicine?" "Like what?" "Let me surprise you." The next Saturday, Ethan took her to an art museum. They wandered through galleries looking at paintings and sculptures. Brianna found herself relaxing, her mind finally quiet. "This was a good idea," she said, standing in front of a large abstract painting. "I needed this." "I could tell. You've been wound so tight lately. Second semester is killing me. I know I can do this, but sometimes it feels overwhelming." "You're allowed to feel overwhelmed. Just don't let it consume you." He squeezed her hand. "And don't forget to take care of yourself." One evening in late January, Brianna was studying at Ethan's apartment while he worked on his laptop. His business partner, Marcus, let me use a different name, his business partner, Preston Hayes, called for a video meeting. Brianna moved to the kitchen to give them privacy, but she could hear bits of the conversation through the door. Preston's voice was agitated, talking about deadlines and investments and risk management. Then she heard something that made her freeze. "You need to end this arrangement, Ethan. It's becoming a distraction. You're not focused anymore." Brianna's heart sank. Were they talking about her? About their relationship? "I disagree," Ethan said, his voice firm. "This is important to me. I understand that, but your priorities are shifting. The board has noticed. You need to make a choice." "I've already made my choice." "Then make it official. End this and move forward with the company." The call ended and silence fell. Brianna stood in the kitchen, her hands shaking. Ethan wanted to end things? After everything, after meeting each other's families and saying they were all in? Ethan came into the kitchen looking tired. Sorry about that. Preston can be intense. It's fine. Brianna tried to keep her voice steady. Actually, I should probably head home. I have an early class tomorrow. Are you sure? I was hoping we could watch a movie. I really need to go. She grabbed her things quickly, not meeting his eyes. Ethan looked confused but didn't push. Okay. Text me when you get home? Sure. In her car, Brianna let the tears fall. She'd known this was too good to last. Known that eventually Ethan would realize she was too much trouble. Too distracted by school, too ordinary for his extraordinary life. She didn't text him when she got home. Instead, she turned off her phone and cried herself to sleep. The next few days, Brianna avoided Ethan's calls and texts. She threw herself into studying, trying to forget the way her heart was breaking. Nicole finally cornered her at the library. What's going on? Ethan's been calling me asking if you're okay. We're done, Brianna said flatly. Or we will be soon. He's ending things. What? When did this happen? Brianna explained what she'd overheard, her voice breaking. Nicole listened, then grabbed her shoulders. You didn't let him explain? You just assumed the worst and shut him out. I know what I heard. No, you heard part of a conversation out of context. That's not the same thing. Nicole shook her head. Bri, you're sabotaging yourself. You're so scared of getting hurt that you're creating the very situation you fear. I'm not. Yes, you are. You're pushing him away before he can leave. But what if he wasn't planning to leave? What if you're destroying something real because of a misunderstanding? The words hit Brianna like a physical blow. Was Nicole right? Had she jumped to conclusions? But he said he'd made his choice. To end the arrangement. Or maybe he was talking about something else entirely. A business deal, an investment, literally anything other than your relationship. Nicole pulled out her phone. Call him. Right now. Talk to him. What if I'm right? What if he was talking about me? Then at least you'll know. But you owe him and yourself the chance to have that conversation. Brianna's phone had 17 missed calls from Ethan and countless texts. The most recent one from an hour ago simply said, "Please talk to me. I don't know what I did wrong, but I want to fix it." With shaking hands, she called him. He answered immediately. Brianna, thank God. Are you okay? Can you come over? I think we need to talk. I'll be there in 15 minutes. He arrived in 12. When Brianna opened the door, she saw the worry etched on his face. He looked like he hadn't slept. What's going on? He asked, stepping inside. Why have you been avoiding me? I overheard your conversation with Preston. About ending the arrangement. Confusion crossed Ethan's face. What arrangement? Your relationship with me. He said it was distracting you, that you needed to end it and focus on the company. And you said you'd made your choice. Understanding dawned in Ethan's eyes, followed by something that looked like pain. Brianna, we weren't talking about you. You weren't. No. We were talking about a partnership deal with another company. Preston wanted me to end it because it wasn't working out, but I'd already decided to terminate the contract. That's the choice I'd made. Brianna felt like the floor had dropped out from under her. Oh. Did you really think I would discuss breaking up with you during a business call? Without talking to you first? Ethan ran a hand through his hair. Brianna, I'm in love with you. The words hung in the air, stunning them both. Ethan looked surprised by his own admission, but he didn't take it back. You love me? Brianna whispered. Yes, I have for a while now. I was waiting for the right moment to tell you, but apparently waiting almost cost me everything. He stepped closer. I love you, Brianna Carter. You're not a distraction. You're not an arrangement. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Tears streamed down Brianna's face. I'm so sorry. I should have asked you. Should have trusted you. You were scared. I get that. But Brianna, you can't shut me out every time you're afraid. We have to talk to each other. You're right. I'm sorry. After Troy, I guess I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Waiting for you to realize I'm not worth all this trouble. That's never going to happen. Ethan wiped away her tears. You're worth everything. Don't you know that? I'm starting to. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. Not now, not ever. He cupped her face in his hands. I love you. And I need you to believe that. I do. And I love you too. I think I have for a while. They kissed, desperate and relieved, clinging to each other like lifelines. When they broke apart, both were crying. Don't scare me like that again, Ethan said. These past 3 days have been the worst of my life. I promise. From now on we talk. No more assumptions. They spent the rest of the evening on Brianna's couch, wrapped around each other, talking about everything they'd been feeling. Brianna explained her fears about not being enough, about waiting for him to wake up and see she was just an ordinary girl from a small apartment. Ethan explained how much she meant to him, how she'd changed his life for the better. "You make me want to be more than just a CEO," he said. "You make me want to be a better person. Someone worthy of you. You're already worthy. You're the kindest, most generous person I've ever met. Besides you, I'm not." "Yes, you are. You saved my life, Brianna. Not just in that parking lot but every day since. You saved me from a life that was all work and no heart." The next day Troy sent another text. Brianna had blocked his number, but he'd found a way to message her through social media. "Heard you're still with the rich guy. Hope you're happy being bought and paid for." Brianna showed the message to Ethan. He read it, his jaw tightening. "Do you want me to handle this?" "No. I've got it." Brianna typed out a response, her fingers steady. "I am happy. Happier than I've ever been. And it has nothing to do with money. Ethan loves me for who I am, not what I can do for him. That's something you never understood. Don't contact me again." She hit send, then blocked Troy on all platforms. It felt good, final. She was done letting him take up space in her mind. "That's my girl," Ethan said, kissing the top of her head. "I'm proud of you. Are you holding back from happiness because you're afraid it won't last? Don't let fear rob you of the present moment." Subscribe to see how Brianna and Ethan's love story continues to unfold. February brought Valentine's Day, and Ethan planned something special. He picked Brianna up early Saturday morning, refusing to tell her where they were going. "It's a surprise," he said when she pressed him for details. They drove out of the city into the countryside. The landscape was beautiful, rolling hills covered in a light dusting of snow. Finally they pulled up to a small cabin nestled in the woods. "This is yours?" Brianna asked, climbing out of the car. "It was my parents'. Rachel and I kept it after they died. I come here when I need to think." He took her hand. "I wanted to share it with you." Inside the cabin was cozy. Wood-paneled walls, a fireplace, comfortable furniture. Ethan had stocked the fridge with food, and there were fresh flowers on the table. "This is perfect," Brianna said, looking around. "I thought we could use a weekend away. Just us, no distractions." They spent the day hiking through the snowy woods, talking and laughing. In the evening, Ethan cooked dinner while Brianna curled up by the fire with a book. It was simple, domestic, perfect. After dinner, they sat on the couch, Brianna's head on Ethan's chest. "Can I tell you something?" she said. "Anything. I used to think love had to be complicated. That if it was easy, it wasn't real. Troy made me feel like I had to earn affection, like I was never quite good enough." She looked up at him. "But with you it's different. Feels easy, natural. And that scared me at first." "It doesn't scare you anymore?" "No. Now I understand that love isn't supposed to be hard. It's supposed to feel like coming home." Ethan kissed her forehead. "You are my home, Brianna. Wherever you are, that's where I want to be." They made love that night, slow and tender, and afterward, lying in Ethan's arms, Brianna felt complete. This was where she was meant to be. With this man who loved her unconditionally, who supported her dreams, who made her feel valued and cherished. The next morning, they were having breakfast when Ethan's phone rang. It was Preston. "I'm sorry," Ethan said. "I have to take this. It's about the merger." "Go ahead." Ethan stepped outside to take the call. Through the window, Brianna could see him pacing, his expression serious. When he came back in, he looked troubled. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Yeah. Just work stuff. Nothing to worry about." But something in his tone bothered her. She pushed the feeling aside, not wanting to repeat the mistake of jumping to conclusions. They spent the rest of the weekend at the cabin, and by the time they drove back to the city Sunday evening, Brianna felt refreshed and reconnected. Over the next few weeks, Brianna noticed Ethan seemed distracted. He'd space out during conversations, check his phone constantly, take calls at odd hours. She tried not to worry, but the old insecurity started creeping back in. Finally, one Saturday at their usual coffee shop, she couldn't take it anymore. "Ethan, what's going on? You've been distant lately." He looked surprised. "Have I?" "Yes. You're always on your phone, always thinking about something else. If you're having second thoughts about us, please just tell me." "What?" "No. Brianna, no." He reached across the table, taking her hand. "I'm not having second thoughts. I love you." "Then what is it?" Ethan was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. I've been planning something. A surprise for you. But it's taken more coordination than I expected. A surprise? I can't tell you what it is yet. But I promise it's nothing bad. Actually, I think it's pretty great. He smiled. Can you trust me for just a little longer? Brianna studied his face, looking for any sign of deception. But all she saw was love and excitement. Okay. I trust you. Thank you. He kissed her hand. It'll be worth it, I promise. The surprise came 2 weeks later. Ethan picked Brianna up after class looking nervous and excited. Where are we going? She asked. You'll see. They drove to a medical center across town, one Brianna had heard of but never visited. It was known for cutting-edge research and innovative treatment programs. Ethan parked and led her inside. Ethan, seriously, what's going on? This way. He guided her to a conference room where several people were waiting. Brianna recognized Dr. Morrison from her old job, along with 2 other doctors she didn't know. And standing in the back, beaming with joy, was her mother. Mama? What are you doing here? Ethan called me, Sandra said. He wanted me to be here for this. One of the unfamiliar doctors stepped forward, a woman in a white coat with kind eyes. Miss Carter, I'm Dr. Patricia Hughes. I head the pediatric research program here. Ethan has told me a lot about you. He has. Yes. He told me about your goals of becoming a pediatrician, about your passion for helping children, about your academic performance. Dr. Hughes smiled. He also told me about your financial concerns regarding residency programs. Brianna looked at Ethan, confused. He nodded encouragingly. We'd like to offer you a spot in our pediatric residency program, Dr. Hughes continued, starting after you complete medical school. It's a fully funded position with a generous stipend and opportunities to participate in groundbreaking research. Brianna's jaw dropped. What? It's competitive and you'll have to maintain your current academic standards. But based on your grades and recommendations, we believe you'd be an excellent fit for our program. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Ethan said softly. This is your dream, Brianna. The chance to not just become a doctor, but to be part of something that will change children's lives. Tears streamed down Brianna's face. Yes, of course yes. Dr. Hughes shook her hand, then handed her a folder full of information. Sandra hugged her daughter tight, both of them crying. Dr. Morrison beamed with pride. You earned this, he said. This had nothing to do with Ethan's donation. You earned it with your grades and your dedication. Donation. Brianna looked at Ethan. I may have made a contribution to the research program, he admitted. But Dr. Hughes is right. The residency position is yours based on merit. I just made sure the program had the funding to offer more positions this year. Ethan. Brianna couldn't find words. This was beyond anything she'd imagined. Not just medical school but a guaranteed path to her dream career. After everyone left, it was just Brianna, Ethan, and Sandra. They went to dinner to celebrate, Sandra chattering excitedly about how proud she was. My baby is going to be a doctor at one of the best hospitals in the country, she kept saying. I can't believe it. Believe it, Mama. It's really happening. Later, Ethan drove Brianna home. She was quiet, overwhelmed by the day's events. Are you okay? He asked. I'm more than okay. I'm just processing. She looked at him. You did all this for me. I did it with you, not for you. You're the one doing the hard work. I just removed some obstacles. Why? Why do you keep doing these incredible things? Ethan pulled over, just like he always did when he needed to have an important conversation. He turned to face her. Because I love you. Because seeing you happy makes me happy. Because you deserve every opportunity in the world. He took her hand. Brianna, from the moment I met you in that parking lot, you've been changing my life. You make me want to be better, do better. Supporting your dreams isn't a burden. It's a privilege. I love you so much, Brianna whispered. More than I thought it was possible to love someone. Good. Because I plan on keeping you forever if you'll have me. Forever sounds perfect. They kissed and Brianna felt like her heart might burst from happiness. This man, this incredible man who'd stumbled into her life during a rainstorm, had given her everything. Not just financial support but belief in herself. Confidence. A future brighter than anything she'd dared to dream. That night, alone in her apartment, Brianna looked at the residency information. It was real. Her name was on the acceptance letter. In 3 years, she'd be Dr. Brianna Carter, pediatric resident at one of the country's top hospitals. She thought about the girl she'd been just months ago. Working double shifts, exhausted and hopeless, watching her dreams slip further and further away. That girl would never have believed this could be her reality. But Ethan had believed it. He'd seen potential in her when she could barely see it in herself. And his faith had given her the courage to chase her dreams without apology. Her phone buzzed. "Ethan, can't stop thinking about how proud I am of you." She smiled and typed back, "Can't stop thinking about how lucky I am to have you. I'm the lucky one. Sleep well, future Dr. Carter." Brianna fell asleep with a smile on her face, her future bright and certain, held safe in the knowledge that she was loved completely and unconditionally. March arrived with the promise of spring. Brianna was in the middle of her second semester, balancing challenging coursework with her growing relationship with Ethan. They'd settled into a comfortable rhythm: study sessions at his apartment, weekend adventures, quiet dinners where they talked about everything and nothing. One Thursday afternoon, Brianna was at the library when Troy appeared at her table. She'd blocked him everywhere, but apparently he'd been waiting for her. "Bree, please," he said, sitting down uninvited. "Just give me 5 minutes." "No." Brianna started packing her books. "I've asked you to leave me alone." "I know, and I'm sorry. But I need to say this." He looked different, his usual confidence replaced by something that might have been genuine remorse. "I was wrong. About everything. About not supporting your dreams, about coming back and trying to manipulate you, about all of it." Brianna paused. She'd imagined this moment before, imagined Troy finally seeing what he'd thrown away. But now that it was happening, she felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, just tired. "Okay," she said. "Thank you for the apology. Now please leave. Can't we at least talk? As friends?" "No, Troy. We can't. Because we were never really friends. We were together and you made me feel small. Made me doubt myself. I don't want that in my life anymore, even as friendship." "It's because of him, isn't it? The billionaire. He's got you convinced you're better than?" "Stop." Brianna's voice was firm. "This has nothing to do with Ethan. This is about me finally realizing my worth. You didn't see it, but I do now. And I'm not going to let anyone make me feel less than I am ever again." She walked away, leaving Troy sitting alone at the table. Outside the library, she took a deep breath of fresh air, feeling lighter. That was closure. Not the dramatic confrontation she'd once imagined, but something better. The simple act of choosing herself. She texted Ethan, "Just had my final conversation with Troy. It's really over now." His response came immediately, "How do you feel?" "Free." That Saturday, Ethan surprised her with tickets to a comedy show. They laughed until their sides hurt, then got ice cream on the way home even though it was still chilly outside. "I have something to tell you," Ethan said as they sat in his car outside her apartment. Brianna's heart skipped. "Good something or bad something?" "Good, I think." He turned to face her. "My company is expanding to the West Coast. I need to go to San Francisco for 2 weeks next month to oversee the launch." "That's exciting. Congratulations." "Come with me." "What?" "Come to San Francisco. You have spring break in April, right? Come spend it with me. See the city, meet my West Coast team, have an adventure." Brianna's immediate instinct was to say no. She should use spring break to study to get ahead. But then she remembered Nicole's words about not letting fear rob her of the present moment. "Yes," she said. "I'd love to." Ethan's face lit up. "Really? You'll come? Really? Let's go have an adventure." They spent the next few weeks planning the trip. Nicole helped Brianna shop for clothes, insisting she needed outfits suitable for both business dinners and sightseeing. "You're going to San Francisco with your billionaire boyfriend," Nicole said, holding up a dress. "You need to look the part." "I'm not trying to look like anyone but myself." "I know. But there's nothing wrong with having nice clothes that make you feel confident." The week before the trip, Brianna had dinner with her mother. Sandra was doing well, her medication working, her spirits high. "My baby's going to California," Sandra said, squeezing Brianna's hand. "With a man who treats her like a queen." "He really does, Mama. Every single day. That's how it should be. That's how love is supposed to feel." Sandra paused. "You know, I liked Troy once. But I was wrong about him. He wasn't right for you. Ethan is." "I know. I can feel it." "Good. Hold on to that feeling. Hold on to him." San Francisco was beautiful. Ethan had booked them a suite in a downtown hotel with views of the bay. Their first day there, they explored the city together. They walked across the Golden Gate Bridge, rode cable cars, ate fresh seafood at the wharf. Brianna felt like she was in a dream. The next few days, Ethan had business meetings. Brianna used the time to explore on her own, visiting museums and parks. In the evenings, they'd reunite and share stories about their days. One night, Ethan took her to dinner at a restaurant on the top floor of a skyscraper. The views were stunning, the entire city spread out below them like a blanket of lights. "This has been amazing," Brianna said over dessert. "Thank you for bringing me. Thank you for coming. Having you here makes it feel less like work and more like an adventure. Your team seems great. They really respect you. They're talented people. I'm lucky to work with them." Ethan set down his fork. "Can I ask you something serious?" "Of course. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Brianna thought about it. "Finishing my residency, hopefully working as a pediatrician. Maybe starting to think about specializing." "And personally? In your personal life?" "I see you." The words came easily, honestly. "I see us building a life together." "What kind of life?" "I don't know all the details. But something real and happy. Maybe a house with a yard for when my mom visits. A dog possibly. Sunday dinners and quiet evenings." She smiled. "What? Where do you see yourself?" "Exactly where you just described. With you." Ethan reached across the table and took her hand. "Brianna, I know we've only been together for a few months, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life. You're it for me. You're my forever person. You're mine too." "Good. Because I have plans for us. Big plans." "What kind of plans?" "The forever kind." That night, wrapped in each other's arms in their hotel room, Brianna felt completely secure. This was real. This was lasting. Whatever challenges came, they'd face them together. They returned home at the end of the week, both sad to leave San Francisco but excited to get back to their routines. At the airport, waiting for their flight, Ethan's phone rang. It was Rachel. "Mind if I take this?" he asked. "Of course not." Brianna watched him walk a few feet away, talking animatedly with his sister. She could see him smiling, gesturing as he spoke. When he came back, he was grinning. "Rachel says hi. She also says she's coming to visit next month and wants to take you shopping." "I'd love that. She really cares about you. Almost as much as I do." "Almost? No one could care about you as much as I do. It's literally impossible." Back home, life returned to normal. Classes, studying, coffee dates, stolen moments between obligations. But something had shifted during their trip. They were more solid now, more certain. They'd seen what life could look like together, and it was good. One evening in late April, Brianna was at Ethan's apartment studying when he came and sat beside her on the couch. "Take a break for a minute?" "Sure." She closed her textbook. "What's up?" "I've been thinking. Your lease is up next month, right?" "Yeah. I need to start looking for a new place. My building is raising rent." "What if you didn't look for a new place? What if you moved in here instead?" Brianna's heart stopped. "You want me to move in with you?" "Yes. I know it's a big step, but we're together all the time anyway. And I love having you here. I love coming home and finding you on this couch, surrounded by books. I love waking up next to you on the mornings you stay over. I want that to be every morning." "Are you sure?" "It's only been a few months." "I'm completely sure. But if you need more time, I understand. There's no pressure." Brianna thought about it. About coming home to this apartment every day. About falling asleep in Ethan's arms every night. About building a life together, not just dating but really being together. "Yes," she said. "I want to move in with you." Ethan pulled her into a kiss, deep and celebratory. "Best decision ever." "Second best," Brianna corrected. "The best decision was accepting your offer that first night." "Good point." They spent the next few weeks preparing for the move. Ethan cleared space in his closet and designated a corner of the living room as Brianna's study area. On moving day, Nicole and Rachel helped them transport Brianna's belongings. "This is a big step," Nicole said, unpacking boxes in the bedroom. "How do you feel?" "Happy. Excited. A little scared." "Scared of what?" "That I'll wake up and this will all have been a dream. That something will happen to ruin it." "Nothing's going to ruin it. You and Ethan are solid." Nicole hugged her. "You deserve this happiness, Bri. Stop waiting for it to be taken away." That night, after everyone left, Brianna and Ethan christened their new living situation by cooking dinner together. They made a mess of the kitchen, laughing as they tried to follow a recipe that was way too complicated. "We're terrible at this," Brianna said, looking at their burned chicken. "We are. Pizza. Pizza." They ordered takeout and ate it on the floor of the living room, surrounded by unpacked boxes. It was perfect. "Welcome home," Ethan said, clinking his soda can against hers. "I'm home," Brianna agreed. And she meant it. This was home now. Not a place but a person. Ethan was her home and she was his. 1 year later, Brianna stood in the parking lot of Memorial Hospital, the same spot where she'd found Ethan collapsed in the rain. It was a beautiful May afternoon, the sun bright and warm, nothing like that stormy night that had changed everything. Medical school was going well. She was finishing her 2nd year with top grades, already making plans for her clinical rotations. The residency at the research hospital was still waiting for her, her future secure. Living with Ethan had been everything she'd hoped and more. They'd found their rhythm, balancing her studies with his work, making time for each other even during the busiest weeks. They cooked together, laughed together, supported each other through challenges. Nicole had found love too, dating a teacher she'd met at a coffee shop. They'd started a tradition of double dates, the 4 of them getting together every few weeks. Life felt full and happy and exactly right. Brianna was meeting Ethan here today, though she didn't know why. He'd been mysterious all week, smiling secretively whenever she asked what he was planning. His car pulled into the parking lot, the same black luxury vehicle he'd been leaning against that rainy night. Ethan got out, looking handsome in a blue button-down and dark jeans. He was carrying something, but Brianna couldn't see what it was. "Hey," she said as he approached. "Why did you want to meet here?" "Because this is where it all started." He took her hand. "This parking lot, this hospital, this moment when you ran toward a stranger who needed help. That was just. It was everything." Ethan led her to the exact spot where she'd found him. "I was lost that night, Brianna. Not just physically sick but lost in my life. Working all the time, never connecting with anyone, just going through the motions. And then you appeared. You refused to let me give up. You dragged me inside even when I tried to refuse help. I couldn't just leave you there." "I know. Because that's who you are. Someone who runs toward people in trouble. Someone who gives without expecting anything in return. Someone extraordinary." He squeezed her hand. "You saved my life that night. But you also saved me from a lonely existence. You showed me what it means to really live." "Ethan, what's going on?" He smiled, that smile that still made her heart skip. "I have something for you." He handed her a small box. Inside was a key. "What's this?" "A key to a house. Our house if you want it." Brianna's jaw dropped. "You bought a house?" "We bought a house. I put it in both our names." He pulled out his phone and showed her pictures. It was a beautiful 2-story home with a big yard, bright windows, and a welcoming front porch. "It's not far from here. 3 bedrooms, a big kitchen and office for you to study, and a yard for your mom to enjoy when she visits. Maybe room for that dog we talked about." Tears filled Brianna's eyes. "Ethan, I can't believe you did this." "I had help. Your mom picked out the paint colors for the guest room. Rachel chose the furniture for the living room. Nicole made sure there's good lighting for studying." He cupped her face. "Everyone who loves you helped make this house a home. Because we all want to see you happy." "I'm happy. So happy I could burst." "Good. But there's one more thing." Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Brianna's breath caught. "Brianna Carter," he said, dropping to one knee right there in the parking lot. "You ran toward me when I needed help. You accepted my offer when I wanted to change your life. You opened your heart when you were scared of being hurt. You've made me happier than I ever thought possible." He opened the box, revealing a stunning diamond ring. "Will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life loving you?" "Yes," Brianna said, not even needing to think. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." Ethan slid the ring onto her finger and stood, pulling her into a kiss. Around them, people who'd witnessed the proposal started clapping. Brianna heard Patricia's voice calling out congratulations. When she looked up, she saw several of her former co-workers watching from the emergency entrance, all of them smiling. "They knew?" she asked. "Everyone knew. I've been planning this for months." Ethan laughed. "Rachel helped me pick the ring. Your mom approved it. Nicole helped me choose this location. You really got everyone involved. Because everyone loves you, Brianna. Everyone wants to see you have the fairy tale ending you deserve." They drove to the new house together. It was even more beautiful in person, with hardwood floors and big windows that let in lots of light. The furniture was modern but comfortable, in bright colors that made the space feel warm. Brianna's medical books were already on shelves in the office. Family photos decorated the walls. "When did you do all this?" she asked, wandering from room to room. "Over the past month. While you were at class and clinical rotations. Rachel and your mom did most of the decorating." In the master bedroom, Brianna found a photo on the nightstand. It was from their trip to San Francisco, both of them smiling on the Golden Gate Bridge. She picked it up, remembering that perfect day. "I love you," she said, turning to Ethan. "I love you so much it scares me sometimes." "Don't be scared. I'm not going anywhere." He wrapped his arms around her. "We're in this together for the rest of our lives." That evening they had an engagement party at the new house. Everyone who mattered was there. Sandra and Rachel, Nicole and her boyfriend, Dr. Morrison and Patricia from the hospital, some of Brianna's classmates, some of Ethan's business associates. The house filled with laughter and love. At one point, Brianna stepped outside onto the back porch. The yard was beautiful, with flower beds already planted. She could imagine lazy Sunday mornings here, barbecues with friends, maybe someday children playing on the grass. Nicole joined her, handing her a glass of champagne. "How are you feeling?" "Like I'm living someone else's life. A year ago I was working double shifts and dreaming about medical school. Now I'm engaged to an incredible man, living in a beautiful house with my dream career within reach. It's not someone else's life. It's yours. You earned every bit of it." "Did I though? Ethan gave me so much." "He gave you opportunities. You did the work. You're the one getting top grades in medical school. You're the one who's going to be an amazing doctor. Ethan just removed the obstacles." "I guess you're right. I know I'm right. And Bree? I'm so proud of you. Not just for the achievements but for having the courage to accept help. For opening your heart even when you were scared. For choosing to be happy." They hugged, both of them crying happy tears. Through the window, Brianna could see Ethan talking with her mother, both of them laughing about something. Her heart swelled with love. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, Brianna and Ethan sat on their new couch in their new house, her engagement ring catching the light. "Tell me again about the first night," Brianna said. "What you were thinking when I found you." "I was thinking I was going to die alone in a parking lot. That all my success meant nothing because there was no one who really cared." He pulled her closer. "And then you appeared. This fierce, beautiful woman who wouldn't take no for an answer. You literally saved my life. And you saved mine. Just in a different way. We saved each other." "Yeah, we did." 3 weeks later, an envelope arrived at their house. Brianna opened it, expecting a bill or advertisement. Instead, she found a letter from the research hospital. "Dear Dr. Carter-to-be," it read. "We are pleased to inform you that based on your exceptional academic performance and recommendation from your professors, you have been selected for our accelerated track program. This prestigious opportunity would allow you to complete your residency in 3 years instead of 4, with additional research opportunities and mentorship from our senior staff." Brianna read the letter 3 times, unable to believe it. Another door opening, another opportunity she'd never dreamed possible. She showed Ethan the letter that evening. He read it, then picked her up and spun her around. "You did it. You're going to be Dr. Carter ahead of schedule." "It's too much. First the residency, now this." "It's not too much. It's exactly what you deserve." He set her down. "Are you going to accept?" "I have to think about it. The accelerated program is intense. Long hours, high pressure. But it's also your dream. To be at the forefront of pediatric medicine, making a real difference." "You're right." Brianna looked at the letter again. "I'm going to do it. I'm going to accept. That's my girl." Planning the wedding was surprisingly fun. Brianna had never been the type to dream about her big day, but with Ethan and their families, it became a joyful project. They decided on a small ceremony in the fall, just close friends and family. One Saturday in June, Brianna was wedding dress shopping with Nicole, Rachel, and her mother. She tried on a dozen dresses, none of them feeling quite right. Then the consultant brought out a simple gown in ivory, elegant without being fussy. Brianna put it on and stepped out of the dressing room. All 3 women gasped. "That's the one," Sandra whispered. "Oh baby, you look beautiful." Brianna turned to look in the mirror and barely recognized herself. The dress was perfect, highlighting her figure without being too revealing. She looked like a bride. She looked like herself. "Ethan's going to cry when he sees you," Nicole said. "Good. He made me cry with the proposal. Turnabout is fair play." They bought the dress along with simple accessories. On the way home, Sandra took Brianna's hand. "Your father would have been so proud of you," she said quietly. Brianna's father had died when she was young, and she barely remembered him. Not just for becoming a doctor but for finding love. For building a beautiful life. "I wish he could be there to walk me down the aisle. He'll be there in spirit. And I'll be right beside you, representing both of us." The wedding took place in September in the garden of their new home. The weather was perfect, warm but not hot, with a gentle breeze that rustled the leaves. Chairs were set up in rows, decorated with green ribbons. A simple arch stood at the front, covered in flowers. Brianna wore her ivory dress. Ethan wore a black tux. Both of them cried during their vows. "You ran toward me when I needed help," Ethan said, his voice breaking. "And I promise to run toward you every day for the rest of our lives. Through challenges and celebrations, through ordinary days and extraordinary moments. You're my best friend, my partner, my home." "You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself," Brianna responded, tears streaming down her face. "You gave me opportunities, but more importantly, you gave me confidence. You taught me that accepting help isn't weakness, it's strength. That love doesn't have to be complicated to be real. I promise to love you, support you, and choose you every single day." They exchanged rings, simple bands that matched perfectly. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, everyone cheered. Ethan kissed Brianna like his life depended on it, and maybe it did. The reception was in their backyard, with long tables set up under string lights. They'd hired a DJ, and dancing continued late into the evening. Brianna danced with Ethan, with her mother, with Dr. Morrison who'd come to celebrate. She laughed until her face hurt, surrounded by everyone she loved. At one point, she spotted someone standing at the edge of the property. He'd shown up uninvited, watching from a distance. Their eyes met, and Brianna saw regret and loss in his expression. She felt nothing but pity. He'd had his chance and thrown it away. Now he was watching someone else get the happiness he'd rejected. Ethan noticed her distraction and followed her gaze. "Want me to have him removed?" "No. Let him watch. Let him see what real love looks like." They turned back to the party, leaving Troy in the shadows where he belonged. Brianna had spent too much time looking backward. Now she was only looking forward, toward the bright future she was building with Ethan. Late that night, after all the guests had gone home, Brianna and Ethan stood on their back porch. The string lights were still glowing, and music played softly from someone's forgotten phone. "Mrs. Crawford," Ethan said, testing out her new name. "Dr. Carter Crawford," Brianna corrected with a smile. "I'm keeping both names. Dr. Carter Crawford. I love it." He pulled her into his arms. "Best day of my life." "Mine too. Although every day with you is pretty great." "Sappy. You started it." They swayed to the music, holding each other close. Brianna thought about that rainy night a year and a half ago. How she'd almost driven past the hospital without looking back. How one moment of choosing to help someone had changed the entire trajectory of her life. "What are you thinking about?" Ethan asked. "That night in the parking lot. How different my life would be if I'd ignored you. You would never ignore someone who needed help. It's not in your nature." "Maybe. But I'm glad I stopped. I'm glad I ran toward you instead of away." "Me too." Ethan kissed her forehead. "Ready for our next adventure?" "Always. What do you have in mind?" "How about we start with our honeymoon in Paris? Then come back and conquer the world together?" "Sounds perfect." They went inside their house, their home, ready to begin the next chapter of their story. A story that had started with a stranger collapsing in the rain and had become a love that would last a lifetime. In her study, Brianna's acceptance letters sat framed on the wall. Medical school. Residency program. Accelerated track. Each one a door that had opened because she'd been brave enough to accept help. Because she believed, even when it was hard, that she was worthy of good things. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nicole. "Congratulations again, Mrs. Crawford. You got your fairy tale ending." Brianna smiled and typed back, "Not an ending. Just a beginning." Because that's what this was. Not the end of her story, but the start of something beautiful. A life built on kindness, hope, and love. A life where helping others and accepting help in return had led to everything she'd ever dreamed of and so much more. She looked at her wedding ring, then at Ethan sleeping peacefully beside her in their bed. Tomorrow they'd fly to Paris for 2 weeks of adventure. After that, she'd start her accelerated residency program. There would be challenges ahead, long hours and hard days. But they'd face them together. And somewhere out there, another person was struggling, dreaming, hoping for a chance. Maybe Brianna and Ethan could be for them what Ethan had been for her. Maybe they could pay forward the kindness that had changed everything. The rain had stopped long ago, but its effects rippled outward, touching lives in ways neither of them could have imagined that first night. And this was just the beginning. 3 years later. Dr. Brianna Carter Crawford stood in the pediatric ward of the research hospital, her white coat crisp and new, her name embroidered on the pocket. She'd finished her residency at the top of her class, just as everyone had known she would. Now she was starting as a full-time pediatrician, ready to make the difference she'd always dreamed of making. In her pocket was an envelope, delivered that morning. She pulled it out and read it again. Dear Dr. Carter Crawford, congratulations on completing your residency. We are pleased to offer you the position of Associate Director of Pediatric Research, effective immediately. A promotion before she'd even officially started. Another door opening, another opportunity. Ethan would be so proud. He was in a board meeting right now, but she'd tell him tonight over dinner. They had so much to celebrate, including the little secret she'd discovered last week. The pregnancy test hidden in her purse, 2 lines instead of 1. A baby coming next spring. Another adventure, another chapter in their ever-expanding story. She touched her stomach, imagining a little boy or girl with Ethan's blue eyes or her smile. Imagining their child growing up in a house full of love and laughter, learning that kindness matters more than wealth, that helping others is the greatest gift you can give. Dr. Carter Crawford? A nurse poked her head into the office. Your first patient is here. A little girl with asthma. Her mother is worried. Brianna straightened her coat and followed the nurse. This was it. This was what she'd worked for. Every late night studying, every challenging exam, every moment of doubt that she'd overcome. It had all led here, to this moment, to this career, to this life. She thought of that rainy night, of running toward a stranger in need, of accepting help when it was offered, of choosing love even when it was scary. Every choice had mattered. Every moment had built on the last. And now here she was, living her dream, helping children, married to her best friend, about to start a family. The little girl in the exam room looked scared, clutching her mother's hand. Brianna knelt down to her level and smiled. Hi there. I'm Dr. Carter Crawford, but you can call me Dr. Bree. What's your name? Sophie. That's a beautiful name. Sophie, I'm going to help you breathe better, okay? I promise you're going to be fine. The little girl nodded, trusting her. And Brianna knew in that moment that this was exactly where she was meant to be. She was Dr. Brianna Carter Crawford. She was a healer. She was a wife. She was going to be a mother. She was living proof that accepting help wasn't weakness but wisdom. That running toward people instead of away from them could change not just your life but the world. And it all started with a rainstorm, a parking lot, and the simple decision to help someone in need. Because in the end, that's what mattered most. Not the money or the opportunities or the achievements, but the kindness, the hope, the love. Always the love.